There's always been a Baggins living here under the hill. In Baggin. There always will be.
Welcome to Rivendell, Frodo Baggins.
There we are then. I think it's all set up now. There we are then. I think it's all set up now. The only thing that's not quite right is the fact that I can't actually hear myself on my headphones. But never mind. I do quite like the lo-fi Lord of the Rings though. see if we can sort this out. Output. This is going to be. I think it's that one. Let's take that in. Transition it through. Can I now hear myself on there? No. Can I now hear myself? It's not like I've put it quiet either. Oh well. Right, hobby time. First things first, this weekend I am taking part in a tournament in Bristol and I need my Necrons finished. Most of it is done on the Lich Guard. But what I have got left to do is the airbrushing on the blades and some of the coil work. I think I do have a finished one here to show. Yes. Here's how it will look. So I've just got to achieve that on these. Cool. Right, so get my airbrush. Start off with the orange. This is air paint, so it's already pre-thinned. Go in quite fast with these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and the plasmans. Oh, right. Orange first. Move them out of the way, I'm going to get them caught in the spray. Oh, I think I also did it on the... Where's the one example? There. Yeah, it's on the shields as well. No. Appear to have bent that already. Fix that later. Doing it like that might be a bit better. I realise I'm blocking the camera with my hands when I'm spraying. This chap is going to need piece of tissue. Oh, my airbrush is getting slightly clogged up. Should clear it. That's better. Right, that's the first coat done of the orange. Quick swig of tea. Swig of tea. On with the second. Start back again. And now I'll start incorporating a bit of overspill because I want them to look like the actual swords are glowing on them. And on the shields, the spray is just concentrated now in the middle. Just to give it another layer. Ugh, I better get her again. Here we go. That's better. Reset touch. That's better. Again with this chap, just to cover the body up. Blade looks terrible. I haven't done that one yet. I'm about to lose the main camera because of battery. Yeah, be right back. Right, camera's back now. Quick battery change. Good to go again. Right, camera's back now. Quick battery change. Good to go again. Next one. Coming along alright? You got a little bit on his shield. That's better. And the yellow will just be the last centre bit to really make it stand out. Hello, Michael. How we doing? He's over on the YouTube stream. You can see I've not exactly gone for a normal scheme with the crons. I don't particularly like the green one, so I made my own blue and orange version instead. The music is Lord of the Rings Lo-Fi, so it's a royalty-free version that you can find on YouTube. And I actually really quite liked that. I thought it was quite good to chill to, so I managed to put it in the back of the streams on Twitch and on YouTube. For those of you on TikTok, join the Twitch and the YouTube streams, they're far better. More cameras, and we've got Lord of the Rings music going on. Well, royalty-free Lord of the Rings music because it's lo-fi. As we airbrush some crons. Although there is Lord Lord of the Rings models to build as well. They're just currently the next project once I finish these for this weekend, because next weekend I'm off to a Lord of the Rings tournament and I still need to build the army. It's currently in blisters and in sprues. And in one battle host box. Scottish beans, Michael, how are we doing? Oh, I'm starting to lose control of what I've sprayed and what I haven't now. That one. Airbrush worth investing in. For me, yes, I absolutely love my airbrush. You don't need to go with one of these. I started off with a really cheap £35 ones on Amazon. I think it's the best way to learn. I think it was even like a nail hand airbrush rather than an actual painting airbrush. But those things are pretty robust. They're easy to clean, and also if you break them, they're really easy to replace. So it's not the end of the world. In fact, I think I've still probably got one around here somewhere that I use for varnish. Don't put varnish through an expensive airbrush because it will ruin it, or you'll be spending forever cleaning it. Put it through a cheap one. You can clean it easy enough, and if it leaks, it doesn't really matter because it's just varnishing stuff. But yeah, certainly airbrush is well worth the investment. Have I got any of my... here's one. Hang on. Some of the best stuff I've airbrushed is my towel. Ugh. Here's a Storm Surge I did. I put him on the overhead. But this is pretty much all airbrush. Airbrush non-oil basically, so it's 3 different layers of red. All these blues. The dark blue is a contrast through an airbrush. Then it layers up to a white ink, then it's overlaid again with a slightly lighter blue, but this is pretty much just a airbrush, and then afterwards it's just the paint touch-ups afterwards. But yeah, airbrush, brilliant. I've got an entire town art somewhere. He's all airbrush, but I'm not entirely sure where I've put it. What else have I got this airbrushed? What? An entire tower. Don't worry about that. Look at that later. That's just all my boxes of models to build on the side. Farsight here, he's halfway through airbrushing, so he has just had an airbrush ink put through. All the reds are done, but not much else. And he's really shiny because I've used an ink here, and inks are quite glossy finish, so when I finish him I'll put a matte varnish through him. Thank you. There's a lot of time, but yeah. So yeah, airbrushes are great. I have got, I don't tend to use them on smaller models, but I mean I've used them on. Here's a Rider of Rohan. The horse was airbrushed just down. That's pretty much it with him. Maybe the cloak had a little bit, but most of that's brushwork. But certainly for phasing 2 colours together, airbrushes are brilliant. Varnish is a great idea to protect your models. I matte varnish all of mine afterwards because quite often, especially if you've used certain paints, they might rub off if you keep picking them up all the time. Also, if you happen to be eating your lunch or having snacks or whatever while you're playing, the grease from your hands can then ruin the paint and then pull it off the models. And then certain models that are made of certain material will lose paint. So I don't know if you won't have if you're using towel, and well, you might have an odd material, but in Lord of the Rings, for instance, quite a few of the minis are still metal. Here's Theoden's horse, for instance. And the problem with these are, as soon as you've touched them a fair few times, the paint comes off all the corners, and it just starts coming off. So varnishing them makes them far better. Some people will varnish by putting a gloss on first, then a matte, or some people just do with a matte. For me, I just put a matte coat on. Just don't put it on the cold, otherwise it will go cloudy. However, if it does go cloudy, you can fix it by spraying it with gloss, and that will remove the cloudiness and you can start again. So you haven't got to worry about ruining your models by putting the wrong varnish on, or at the wrong time of year or the wrong weather. You can fix it afterwards. For those of you on TikTok wondering who I'm talking to, I've also got it streaming on Twitch and YouTube, and I'm going for the comment section on there. What have you got in your Tau army? It's like my main faction, so I'm interested to see what points have you got. Crisis suits, I hope. Ghost Kill, Riptide. Yeah, Grimdark does make things take longer, but broadsides are a cracking unit. Have you used rail rifles on them, or have you gone for missile pods? Because I'm all about rail rifles. Only rail rifles I've seen a conversion using a Vendread. Interesting. I haven't seen that conversion. I've seen some people who have done both and stuck the rail rifles on the arms and then put the rocket pods on their back, which looks quite cool. I guess they just developed a smart missile system rather than an actual high yield missile pod. I tend to just use them as the rail rifle, plasma rifle, and seeker missile. I think is usually loadout I use. But having, I think the rail rifle's a 72-inch range. It's just an entire table threat. It's brilliant. Stand still, hit on 2s with guided. I think it's quite nice. Where's my box of Tau army? Downstairs. I've got some hazard battle suits here, but they're old range. They're now in Legends. They used to be a Compodium unit, and now they're in Legends. I've got the old Farsight model here on the table. Still a cool model. I think I might rebase it and use it as a Crisis Commander. So I've still got a use for it. Yeah, they're really good seeker missiles. Just remember they're only one shot, so you've just got to remember that once you've shot them, that's it. You can't keep doing it. I do need to give this guy some glow. What do I do on the finished one? Yeah, glow in the center. Oh, I've ruined my system up. I've ruined my system. Start from this end. Nope, he's the finished one. Yeah, when the Farsight was first released, it came in the box set with the crisis suits. It was a really good deal because the old Combat Patrol came with crisis suits in the box, and that was brilliant. But now, obviously, they can make more money by selling crisis suits separately, since everybody wants to run giant blobs of 6 of them. So they're now only found separately, which is annoying. I think I've still got 6 or 9 still on sprue because I bought a load of the old Start Collectings before they went out of production. The new Farsight model, though, is lovely. Do you know what? What's that? I just got to buy a box of Crisis and a Riptide. See, I love the Riptide. They're not the strongest unit now in 10th, because they cost the same amount of points as a 3-man unit of Crisis suits, which arguably have much better stats and bonuses. But there's nothing. Riptides are still cool. Exactly, Brawl are cool because as soon as you put a Riptide down the table, your opponent just wants to shoot it. They'll ignore everything else on the table. They'll ignore all the stuff that's more threat, and they just want to kill the Riptide. I mean, following Raw Core is pretty much why I collected Tau in the first place. I just like all the battle suits and the planes and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I've got a Tau Nar. I've got, I think it's called the Tiger Shark XO1. It's basically the 2 giant railguns that fly. It's massive. It's so unusable, but it's just cool. Ghost kills are great because I've got Lone Operative. So you got to be within 12 to even shoot it, which is brilliant, especially for like a battle suit. I think it's Lone Op. They've definitely got stealth. I think they've got Lone Op. Huh. I'll tell you what is cool. Is it still here? In my drawer of models not built yet, to go along with the cupboard of models not built yet, I have got... There we go. It's a ghost kill, but it's made out of clear plastic. So it's permanently stealth, which I think is really cool. It's just quite a cool little thing. So when you build it, it'll just be clear plastic. Ghost kill. I've also got stealth suits in clear plastic as well, so that'll be cool as well. Yeah, those ones are really cool. I 3D printed those a couple of years back. They've done really well. It also helps to remind me they've got stealth because they're see-through. So at least I can remind myself they've got rules. Otherwise I just get too caught up with the game and completely forget that I've got shenanigans to do with them. Yeah, I've got all the cards, but it's still a lot to leave out on the table or to remember. And again, like, I play 3, 4 different armies, and then even then I play like 3 different games, so trying to remember everything's a nightmare. I mean, even on my desk in front of me, I've got 40k, I've got Lord of the Rings, there's Star Wars Legion there, and there's Age of Sigmar there, so it's just so many different things to remember, different units, different armies, and then different games. But then why only play one game? If you're going to do it, you might as well do all of them, aren't you? What haven't I done? You've been done. 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 You and you, so it's this one. What have I missed on here? More on the chest, more on the armour, the shield, a bit more on the blade. Starting to clog on the airbrush. Need to clean it out. Is that still streaming okay? Yep. I would take Tal this weekend, but I've already committed to taking the Crons to the tournament, so... And to be fair, I've been quite enjoying playing the Crons recently. Oh, scarabs. Tiny little scarabs. Let's put them in handles. Hi Chris on TikTok. Yeah, airbrushes are brilliant. I think they are a great way to get decent coverage on models with paint. What's that? No worries, Beans. Thanks for tuning on Twitch. Hopefully I'll see you again. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you again. Chris, yeah, airbrushes are brilliant. I would say you don't need to start with one like this. This is a an evolution. Start with like a 30 quid one from Amazon. Learn with those. At the end of the day, if you completely clog it up and forget to clean it out when it fills with paint, it's 30 quid one rather than a 100 plus one. But they are brilliant for a nice even coat across the models. With these ones here, currently I'm on the start of them, but they will look something like this afterwards, where I've blended in all the blades to oranges and yellows, and the same on the shield front. If you want to see this better, go to Twitch or a YouTube channel. I'm using a top-down camera, so you can see it all better on there, but TikTok won't let me stream from the cameras to it because I'm in the UK and it won't let me. Yeah, like I say, start cheap. I started off with I think it was like a Nail Beautician's airbrush. It's like 30 quid. It came in like a simple compressor as a little disc, and it had green, orange, and red for pressure. It wasn't even there wasn't even a dial to give you PSI or anything. It was just I just kept it on green the whole time, so it was as high pressure as possible, and then just keep your paint thin and do lots of little coats, and it all worked brilliantly. Practice when you start. Practice with bits of paper and just getting used to spraying the lines. And then once you got competent in it, or you want to upgrade, then look into something like this. I mean, this has got an air compressor down below the table. The air compressor has got a tank attached to it, and that's the best way of doing it, because if you don't have the air tank, it's just constantly going the whole time. So not only have you got a motor constantly churning the air compressor, it also gets quite hot. So with the air tank, it fills the air tank up, keeps the pressure there, and then once you've used it all with your airbrush, then it'll kick in again and carry on filling it back up again. Those little ones don't have that, they're just literally on or off, but I say when you're learning, the 30 quid ones are brilliant. Right, scarabs. That's not coming quite through properly. These paints are already pre-thinned, the Army War Painter Air range, so I haven't got to thin anything down. I quite like the coverage they come out at. Test it on a piece of... It depends on what you're doing. If you want to do like the lines of all the camouflage and stuff like that, then mask and tape up, or in my case, because of how I'm painting these and such, I'm using more of a glowing effect. It doesn't really matter to me. What have I got here? So for instance, this chap, he's not masking tape, because all I was doing with him was the different glowing areas and panel lines. If I wanted to do neat lines, then I would mask and tape it across, or you can use putty now as well. I've seen some airbrush putty, looks quite good. Same with, say, the likes of that entire model. This entire model is airbrush, except for the details. So this is all brushwork here, but the blues, the reds, that's all airbrush. The only things that aren't airbrush on this chap is the orange rockets, the silver bits at the front there, and any of the smaller details. But all of the glowing blues and the reds, that's all airbrush on him. The metal work is just dry brush, just quick and easy. Same with Farsight here. He's halfway through being worked on, so he's got he's quite shiny at the moment, because I actually airbrushed. I was trying out some new paints with him, and they leave quite a glossy finish, so he'll be doing a matte lacquer before I move on with any more. But he's different layers of it on there. And then when you look underneath him, you'll see that it's darker shades underneath there as well. And then... thank you. It's a lot of practice. And then at the moment I'm trying to learn black, because I find painting black quite difficult. So this guy has started off with black, and it's built up with tiny little bits of grey added into the paint colour each time to try and build it up. Can't really see it very well on the phone camera. On the Twitch camera you can see where the lighting is on it, but I'm trying to pick out the shadows and learn bringing volume to blacks, because this is not something I've done before. Blue, red, I did practice for my sins some blue marines, practicing the colours on them. Reds I can do easy enough now, because I've painted probably best part of 4,000 points of red towel. So I'd probably say airbrushing them's alright now. I've probably got them down pretty to a T. It's just the other colours I'm practicing on now. What's this one? Oh, there was some green I was working on before the update, before these got relegated. And this is using Liquitex's ink range. I was practicing using Liquitex's ink to base it. I'll just put it on the Twitch camera there. and Liquitex white ink to pull out the highlights first, and then sprayed it with Vallejo's new what have they called it? It's like their contrast paint, basically, and it works really well through an airbrush. Their contrast mixture. I forgot what the actual paint's called, but it's brilliant through an airbrush. So I've used their blue, I've used their green, I've used their red. Messing around here with some. What's that one? That is. Oh, I made a chainsaw for a dreadnought. It's for a Redemptor Dregs. I didn't like the profile saying Redemptor combat weapon. So I felt that the Redemptor needed an actual combat weapon, so I designed and made a chainsaw for a Redemptor Dreadnought. It's massive. YouTube, anything on Twitch? Nope, we're all good. Still on TikTok. No worries. Happy to answer any questions on airbrushing and stuff like that. I've painted a fair amount now with an airbrush. Knights, Tau, tanks, although they're still in boxes at the moment. Oh, actually. On the box I'm currently working on. Some of the new Leviathan dreads that I've done. I'll just put it through the Twitch camera. So this is airbrushed and it's done with Azenthio as well. For my sins it is blue. Is it going to focus on him? I will. There we go, look at that. And I can bring the volume. If I bring the exposure down, there you go, you'll see the colour depth a bit better now. So that gives the volume on him as well. That's airbrush, that's done with the Liquitex inks, followed by the Vallejo. I really need to remember what the name of the paint's called, but it's their contrast paint basically. To do the blue, and the rest of it is all just details and inks and washes afterwards. So I think that comes out really well. I really like those ones, how they come out. Not sure on white though. I still need to find a decent white paint. I don't know if you can see it on that one, but that one's got up a little bit cracked, and it annoys me slightly. I've tried airbrush white. I've tried the new Pro Acryl white. GW white or Citadel white is like clay. So I'm still trying to find a decent white paint that I can reliably use every time. I find that some of them are a bit temperature dependent. It really annoys me. Speaking of temperature dependent. Nope, I've clogged it. That'll clear it. There we go. Yep. So guys, on TikTok, if any of you want to see the camera that's pointing at the actual airbrushing, it's on YouTube, my YouTube channel and my Twitch page. They're both currently streaming. It's D6 Tabletop, and it's all on there. But we're just bringing out the little orange beads that are in the middle of the scarabs and just giving them a bit of a glow across the rest of the models. You probably could do it with a dry brush or brushing normally, but I've got one of these, so I use an airbrush. And then for basing them, I will just be using Geek Gaming Scenics all in one base, bit of PVA glue, dip it in a box of grit, and it's well away. Right. I think that's most of the orange done. Time to move on to the yellow. I'll use what's left in this cup to put another coat on the blades, just to make sure they've got as vibrant as possible. Oh, I put my head in the way of the camera again. I really like this one because in the kit you get with the Necron Lich Guard, there's a few poses, most of them are quite static, and there's this one dude who's got his full arms out to the side in full come at me style, which I think is quite cool. Guys, if you have any questions about airbrushing, pop them in. I'm not the world's leading expert on airbrushing. I've done a fair amount of it. I've got best part probably 4,000 points of towel that have all been airbrushed. So I've done a fair bit. What can I say? I like a battlesuit. That one. Oops. Yeah, brush is starting to clog a little bit. I'll have to clean that out in a minute. I figured since I mainly use my TikTok for posting memes and CapCut templates, I might as well do something hobbying on it instead. It's blocking up. Perfect. Oops. Paint always gets stuck on the bottom of these airbrushes. Oh, a bit too much there. Oh, it's this chap again. I need to stop the airbrush from painting the rest of his body, so paper towel goes in between. And then spray brush down so all the overspill doesn't go on the model. Don't mind a little, but if the way that angle is, I'll end up spraying the entirety of the inside of the model. Okay. Right, that's that done. Back to the scarabs again for the last bit. One tray of scarabs. Apparently there's a person at my front door, according to Ring. Cool. Right, so that's all the oranges done. And top camera, they're looking pretty good.
There's always been a bank here under the hill.
Clean this out, go through the yellow next.
Always will be.
That's the orange done. Cleaning bowl. Airbrush thinner, that's actually got cleaner in it. This is where the most effort is taken, because it's just cleaning over the pots before you put the next paint in. That's fine.
Welcome to Rivendell.
Yeah, that looks fine there. What I will do, I've got an old brush here from Crack Pipe. It's an airbrush. Imagine doing that on TikTok. It's one way to get banned, I guess. Okay. So we've gotten rid of the orange. Yellow next. I've only just started doing lives. Imagine if I start with a crack pipe, I'd never get to do any more afterwards. To think when I started doing this live, because I'm on Twitch and YouTube, I'm also like streaming on there, but I've got some lo-fi Lord of the Rings royalty-free music playing at the same time. My biggest worry was that music getting me pulled up for banning, but I think a crack pipe might supersede that. Music violation, no drugs. Oh, okay. Right, where's that yellow paint gone? There it is. For the camera. Neon Air. It's quite a bright, vibrant yellow. Where's my little spinny thing? Lost it. Brilliant. I've got a vortex mixer actually. It's gonna make some noise. That's what I thought. Not right. Just knocked off the. Never mind. We won't be using that then because it just knocked off the webcam for Twitch. Ooh, that's bright. Okay. Aren't they going to come out on these though? Yeah, it's going to be too thin. What else have I got? I've got an entire drawer, so it's not like I shouldn't be struggling. There we go, another one there. What's that one? No, that's too bright. Maybe we'll try demonic. I'll use demonic first instead. Rinse and repeat. What am I doing? So I'm just currently changing over the paints from the airbrush because the one I've put in I just realized is going to be far too thin a paint to even cover the orange I've already put down. What I'm doing overall is I'm currently painting what's called Lich Guard. They're for an army called the Necrons in Warhammer 40,000. What one looks like when it's finished is like that. What I'm currently working on is the orange bits up here and on the shield. I've done the orange layer, but what I'm now working on is I've got to put the yellow on for a highlight layer, but the first yellow I picked is way too thin. I can't even see it. It's more of a neon colour for final phase, so I'm going to put a change to a slightly different colour now. I'll just clean the airbrush out again. And we're going to change. We were using that one, but it's too light and too thin, so we're going to use this one, which I can already see is a thicker colour paint. It's still an airbrush paint though, so I shouldn't need to thin it down to put it through the airbrush. Yeah, that's much better. Much thicker. Okay, so start with him. Yeah, that's much better. Yeah. I think what I'm actually going to do is this covers better than that orange did, so I'm probably going to do everything in yellow now and then go back with the orange afterwards, and that'll be the end of it. This comes up quite nice. Is it that bright on the other one? Nearly. Cool. Right. Let's get the system working again. So they're on that end of the table. Work right to left, and then left to right afterwards. Or right to left, and then right to left again. Oh yeah, this cover's much better. Did I use orange on the previous ones on the shields? Oh no, I used yellow as well, yeah, okay. Note to self, next time just start with yellow. Does build up on the end of the needle though, so I mean airbrushes are supposed to have a little extra bit on the end that you screw on. I take mine off because I find it just gets in the way, and it allows me to just pick off the bits of dry paint that build up on the end of the nozzle and help it move smoother. You can buy other special ends that have got like brackets and stuff, but I haven't got any of them. Yellow. Ooh. Oh, and his shield. Cool. There's 165 people watching me airbrush. Was that just TikTok sending people here rather than people actually game or hobby? More yellow. Oh, I've missed all of their chests. I have to go back and do them again. Completely forgotten that I was doing their chests at the same time. Oh, got a block. What type of Warhammer do I play? So, I play Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, Lord of the Rings, and occasionally Star Wars Legion. That's everything I've got on my table in front of me here. So we've got, obviously, Necrons I'm painting here for this tournament this weekend. I just need to finish this unit in time for the tournament. I've also got 40k, I've got Necrons, I've got Space Marines, I've got Tau, and I've got a small Eldar force but I don't play on. Lord of the Rings, I have nearly every army going because I've been collecting that since it came out. It's probably the best part of 20 years. That's what got me into Warhammer in the first place. I've also got a Lord of the Rings tournament next weekend that I still have to make the entire army for. Desert Rider of Rohan that I was working on the other day. He's quite cool. and the one in Bloodborne. Used to be Bloodborne, start with Warhammer 40 Argos. I didn't really know Argos used to sell Warhammer. Can I explain what I'm doing? Sure. So I'm airbrushing. I've got a selected unit here in front of me. I'm airbrushing their swords to phase the yellow and red together, yellow and orange together. So here's a finished one that I've done before. You'll see on his blade he's got orange and yellow phased on the blade and on the back of the shield. That's done with an airbrush. So what I've got here is my airbrush. It's linked up to a compressor, and I'm layering down the paint in coats to build back up to that. So this chap has got the orange done, now he needs the yellow, but what I've just discovered is the yellow coats better. So I'm going to go everything in yellow and then go back with the orange to bring out the orange colour. I've got to do it on top of these guys as well. I've got to do it to these guys as well, and then that's all done for the weekend. For those of you who are watching on TikTok, I'm also streaming on Twitch and YouTube, which have got a better camera pointing down, so you can see everything in much better detail. I've currently got the scarabs on the camera there. My mate was into fantasy stuff. The battleground was awesome. Yeah, so Warhammer Fantasy Battle stopped about a year after I started playing it. So I've still got a load of armies from it still in a box. But I haven't played anything. Old World's coming back out next year. I think it's next year. Which, although isn't Fantasy Battle again, it is like a new version of the rules. Some of them were released yesterday. They look quite cool. And I like the fantasy stuff, but then I got into Lord of the Rings because Fantasy Battle disappeared, and playing Lord of the Rings for years. It's a brilliant little game. Whereas Fantasy Battle is mass units of troops and, you know, massive tables. Lord of the Rings is like a skirmish game, so you play with like anywhere between 10 to 40 models on a game. It takes about an hour. It's been Warhammer, it was Goblins and Warriors. Which setting though, Billy? Because there was Goblins and Warriors in Lord of the Rings, there was Goblins and Dwarves, Goblins and Warriors in Fantasy Battle as well. Different rule sets, same company basically. And then I've also got 40k as well. So for the Twitch streamers, we've got one of the new Leviathan Marines that I did in blue. I'll put him on the camera here, he won't show up as well though. I was practicing some airbrushing with him to get different colour depths with blue with different inks. So he's a blue one. I've also been practicing with black. The black one doesn't show up very good on the phone camera for TikTok. On the Twitch camera, you'll be able to see a different colour depth that I'm trying to build up with him. He comes out quite well on that one. My old mate did grass. See, where Warhammer Fantasy Battle with the old basing scheme used to be green edges of the bases or brown edges on the bases, and flock was a thing. Flock, I haven't seen flock in years, but you used to put flock on everything. Nowadays it's not so popular. You tend to just use things like this. For those on the Twitch camera, basing material, this is a texture paint which does it all for you. Or you can use what's called Geek Gaming Scenics. They produce different base materials. So this one here has got a bag of grit and stones. You just cover the base in PVA glue and put it in. Those on the Twitch camera. This is Geek Gaming. There's a video about these basing materials as well on my YouTube channel, where I go over two of the simplest basing styles that I use, which are these two. And this is basically what comes in one bag. Cover the base in PVA glue. Put it in the pot, comes out done. Put a black edge around it, job's a good one. Have I got any Imperial Guard? Yes, but they're all on sprue. I've got the old, towards the end of last year they released a box called Cadia Stands. I've still got that box. I've not opened it. I've still got a 9th edition codex in it. I've not opened it. And I've not used it. I might have, I think actually in this box down here, which is my footrest, I do have, yes, when I was really young I got bought some Imperial Guard stuff for Christmas, including the old, for those on Twitch as well, the old fire support team. So we've got those, and some of the old shock troopers, back when the only way I could paint was through block colours only. Any tips for painting chainmail? Dry brush. I like chainmail to be based black and then dry brushed. I start with Iron Warriors or a really dark silver, and then build them up to a really bright one. What have I got anything around here with an example one? What's in that box? Oh, there is a dwarf over there. Hang on. I don't know why I'm wearing that headset actually, because I can't hear anything out of it. What have we got on here? No, that's plate armor, plate armor. Same kind of idea though. So, chainmail, start dark, and then with a dark silver, and then build up to a lighter one. This for the Twitch camera is a dwarf from a game called Kings of War, and he starts, if I can get it to focus on the other camera, not so much. But his silver starts with black, and then it's a simple lot of dry brush. I use the Artist Opus dry brushes, they're brilliant. But if you're starting out, any dry brush will do, any form of old like makeup brush, stuff like that. That works really well as well. I've got, this is used for light dusting. It's just a makeup brush I picked up from Poundland for about 30-40p, and I use it for when I've got to do anything really light dust work with it. Other than that, I've got a set of the Artist Opus brushes for dry brushing with, which is what most of these Necrons obviously are as well, because I could spray them all silver, but I prefer just spray them all black and then give more dry brush. Oh, the lo-fi Lord of the Rings sounds really good, but that's on Twitch. I had little cannons with them. On the Gretchens or the Imperial Guard? I've not seen I can't remember the old orcs. When I used to play for Warhammer Fantasy Battle, I had Dark Elves and Bretonnians, and my mate had Chaos, and another mate had Tomb Kings. And that was all we had at the time. With Old World coming out next year, it's probably going to be Bretonnians and Tomb Kings in the starter box, I think is what's been said. Which sounds like a really cool box. I need to get with the yellow on this one. Dwarves with cannons, sounds about right. The dwarves do get all the gunpowder and all of the gun stuff in fantasy settings normally, except for Lord of the Rings. The only gunpowder in Lord of the Rings is Saruman at Helm's Deep. Although in the new Moria game there is blasting powder, which looks really good. I haven't looked at playing Return to Moria yet, but it's something I might look at doing. I mean, I still play Lord of the Rings online, which is cool. They were made of lead. Yeah, or Games Workshop's of white metal. I'm not entirely sure what it's made of. I don't think it's lead per se, but it's certainly something. I've got some models made of that still, because Lord of the Rings still uses it. Where have I put Shadowfax? There he is. For the Twitch camera. Shadowfax. Not Shadowfax. Snowmane is Theoden's horse. Yeah, a lot of the blisters in Lord of the Rings are still metal. I've got a few here. This is for my army for next weekend. One of the characters there is still in metal, still got all the flashing attached. I've got to bend all that back into shape. I mean, for the Twitch camera, look at that. I've got to bend all that back into shape. That's some of the sort later. Oh, my 3D printer's finished. That's a little bit. They weren't a shite. No. Well, those are brand new in the packet, delivered yesterday, so they haven't been scuffed yet. Where was I with these? Yellow. Most of them look yellow except for that one. Oh god, that came out too fast. Fair bit of overspill now on that one. And then a tiny little bit on the inside for here for his glowing chest. 3D printer, I've got 4, so because I run a small 3D print shop, but it depends on what you're after. You can get PLA, which is great for terrain and big models, but it does leave little lines, or you can get what's called resin. Oh, thanks, Lacey. I don't know what roses do, but thank you. I'll have to have a look later. Or you've got what's called a resin printer, which is great for printing models, spears. I use it for printing like guns and conversion bits. I also design conversion bits as well from a model. So things like what have I got here? Because I will have something on the table because I was working on it yesterday. There we go. Lord of the Rings. It's a little sprue of spears. Just so when I come to build my Lord of the Rings models, some come with swords that I want spears on, so I'll cut off the hands with the swords and then replace them with these ones that I designed for spears. Cost wise, depends what you want. You can buy them second hand pretty well now. Resin printers still pretty good second hand. Mine, I think my one new was about £300 for the main resin printer, and then you buy what's called a wash and cure station as well. So what? Because once you've printed it and it's resin, it's still gloopy resin. Excuse me. It needs to then get washed and then cured. So you wash it into the machine, it spins around liquid. You got to buy the liquid as well, and then let it out, let it dry, and then you put it back into a UV bath to make them safe to handle. So like this is now safe to handle because I've UV'd them all. But if that comes straight off the printer, I wouldn't touch it with my bare hands because it's still covered in poisonous resin. PLA printers though are plug and play, and they print terrain very well. Have I got any here? Yes, I have. There you go. There's a crashed hammerhead for a terrain board that I'm working on. All you do is I found the file online, I put it into the printer, pressed play, and then 6 hours later that was on the printer bed. For those on the Twitch stream, I'll put it up to that camera there. It's basically a hammerhead. Oh, sorry, devilfish because it is the transport, not the tank. And yeah, I've got loads of those now. I've got about 3 or 4 that I'm going to paint up for a board. I've got other destroyed tanks, I've got buildings, craters, all that kind of stuff. They're really good to use. And of course you can print minis. Some people make proxies for minis. I tend to only print minis that I would either have to buy from Forge World or are non-existent, because I just don't like the Forge World resin. Some of the new stuff's alright actually. I'm talking like the old kits, but the new stuff I bought from them the new Glorfindel the other day for Lord of the Rings, and he looks fantastic. But their older kits, like the Tau planes and stuff like that, are just not very good. You shouldn't have to pay like several £100s for a model and then spend the next 3 hours trying to put it into the pieces it should be in, or straighten out bits that should be straight. Cool. Scarab done. And as soon as I finish this army and this unit and getting this sorted, I've then got to start work on the army for Lord of the Rings tournament next weekend. So, plenty busy. Right, you're resting against something now because you're making an extra noise. Ah, that's why. I put the top of Imperial Guard against it. Done. It's just the chests now. Okay, 1, 2 done. 3. 4. 5. 6. 'I need to re-glue this back together. It's broke in the middle. That's annoying. I mean, to be fair, I need to glue a load of swords back on the other unit anyway. That one. Use a little blue towel. I got a bit of blue towel next to me on the table, so I can just take the brush across and double check it's working rather than pulling harder on the trigger on the model, because it'll just all spill out and ruin all my work. Cool. Last one. Whoops. There we go. Right. Put that in the holder. So we've now got 10 of these. Oh, I haven't done his shield. Okay. How many have I done a shield for in yellow? Yellow, yellow, yellow. Not you. It's just these two. These two. Come on. Two. A bit more on top. There we go. So then the shields for TikTok. I've now got an orange to yellow fade, and on the other cameras, there we go. Right, so that's the yellow done on them. The scarabs are done, but I need to put some orange back onto the blades because I used the yellow to block it out. So change over again. Towels had its day. In the bin with you. And a piece. Right. Empty. And then we'll go back in with the orange again, which is this one, safety orange. I'm assuming for high vis vests. Shouldn't need that much. go. Tested it out on there first. Right. So many models on my desk. Start left to right. Cool. One. And I do the other dude. He's mainly yellow at the tips and orange in the middle. Just check on YouTube and Twitch. All good. Let's add in a bit of lava orange, I think. No, there's not enough in there to bring that on. Okay. Cool. No, don't drop that. So we're just airbrushing the orange details now back onto the blades, or we would be if the end of the airbrush hadn't dried up. Pick that off and we're good to go again. There we go. This one. Oh, no, still showing up okay on the camera.
There's always been a baggage.
It's blocked on the end again. Couple more left, we're nearly there. Last one. Cool. So now all the blades go from an orange fade into a yellow fade, which is pretty much the theme throughout my entire army for these guys. They're all blue, orange, brass, and yellow. Basing wise, I'll be getting the same treatment as this dude, which is just a gravel basing from a bag. It's got PVA glued them all. Oh, for the Twitch camera. I'll be getting this basing, which is just a gravel base bag. So I'll just get all PVA glued, shoved through the tub, and then done. Ready for the table for Saturday. So clear a table a second from that stuff because they need to dry out first. I'll stick them all on the shelves over here. My paint pot shelves will now become my model shelves. Oh, I just realized my Twitch camera is. Hang on, move it there. Move it. There we go. It's better. Oh, I've got this guy to paint. I've got a single destroyer to paint as well, which will be dry brush because it's just got to be silver. So we'll just move the lich guard out of the way. I'll use those later for something else. Right, no more airbrushing for the minute, so what we'll do is we'll just top up that pot. Clean that out later. Okay. Right, one Locust Destroyer to paint. A single man. Because I had 30 points in my list left to use, so I might as well just stick it on him. We are going to need Lead Vulture, Iron Warriors, Contrast Paint, Dark Reaper, Fenrisian Grey, and Blue Horror. I'm also going to need some dry brushes and a regular paintbrush. Where's my other? There it is. Might need the large series. We'll see. Where is that the soap? Yes, that's the soap. I don't want that one. That's the soap. Where's where's my sponge pad? Oh well, I'm not going to worry about it for one model. I think I'll start off with just Iron Warriors. Now I don't load up the actual dry brush with the paint that I'm dry brushing with. I will put it onto what you can't see on the TikTok camera, but you can on the YouTube and Twitch camera, is that I've got an Artis Opus mat here in front of me. So I'm going to take my brush, not that brush because I use that brush a lot, we'll use one of the scrap brushes. Load it up with Iron Warriors paint. Transfer that onto the mat. And then use the dry brush. That's about right. So all over dry brush on this one. The main concentration here is to make sure that I, put the brush strokes all in the same direction so that it starts building up that metallic layer that I'm putting on with the dry brush. More so on the edges, because once I've done the dry brushing with the metallic, I will then put on the contrast paint Cotscore scales, which will give it a bluey sheen, and then I'll go in and dry brush with the highlight layer of Frisian Grey and Blue Horror to bring out the rest of my colour scheme. I actually haven't got a gun arm on this dude yet, so I'm gonna have to, I've lost it, so I'm gonna have to print a spare weapon arm for him for the weekend. Oops. Totally respect the people at the time of day to do this. What, hobby paint? I've had a really busy work day, so it's nice just to do a couple of hours at the end of the day to take your mind off things. I find it quite therapeutic and quite relaxing. I need some more paint. made I met this guy. He made supernatural cars. Interesting. I don't know if that's a tabletop game. If it is, it's not one that I've heard of or played. There is a car one. Gaslands, I think it's called. I've never played it. Dean's Opera. Interesting. No, I haven't heard of it, but it sounds interesting. Gaslands is pretty much Mad Max, where people play with cars they've invented, I think, where they've put different things onto them and weapons and stuff like that and act out scenes from like the Mad Max films. It's not something I've ever played. Oh, way too wet. Let's make my hand. That's better. It's right at the underbase anyway. I have the patience. It's a nice stark contrast from my regular day, so this is a nice chance. This is a nice point for me to unwind and just chill out. I mean, I'm self-employed, so I'm quite busy anyway. I'm busy during the day, so being able to sit down and just paint takes my mind off things. And although, admittedly, I am streaming. Hang on, 1, 2, yeah, 3 different channels. It is quite low tech, except for the camera bit now, but normally I might have an audio book on to listen to whilst I paint, but that's about it. There's nothing else. To be fair, this is the first live stream I've actually done long term. I did one the other day for about 10 minutes just to have a little practice with it. But this is the first time I actually stream painting. Usually on my TikTok I just post silly CapCut templates and memes. So I thought I'd try something a little bit different and actually do some actual hobby content. I do have a YouTube channel that's got long videos on of different tournaments that I do and places that I go, and things that I see and whatever. But this is the first one I've done anything hobby. So there is, where's the camera there? The first layer of Iron Warriors on him. Necrons are ready to the paint. It's just black, dry brush, more dry brush, and done. Like I said, he hasn't got a weapon because I've lost it, so I will have to print one overnight and then paint that tomorrow. That's the first layer of dry brush done. Now for the highlight layer of dry brush, which is going to be Lead Belcher. This brush? Yes, this brush. Because this is a highlight dry brush, I am being a bit more picky about where I go and just picking out the edges now of the model. Creating the Apollo from the TV show with you, Supernatural, because I binge watched all those seasons. Sammy! Creative. Oh, nice. Creative 5 cars. Did he do the Impala though? Did he do Dean's car as the important one? That's better. I just noticed that the light's not quite right on that camera. There we go. How does that look on the stream? Yeah, that looks better. Is there still lo-fi music? Yeah. Still playing the lo-fi music. Nice. Okay, so that's most of the dry brushing done now. Well, silver dry brush. Are we moving on to blue dry brush in a minute? Clean out the dry brush. He made the caster get crushed. Nice. Nothing like putting hard work in this up and then destroying it afterwards. One important thing with your brushes, once you've washed them out, don't do that. Don't store them upright. The water will trip down the follicles into the holding area and it will end up making them splay out. So I store mine sideways, including the giant one. Next is going to be... I almost cried for him. Well, for long as he was happy destroying his own work, that's up to him. Lick your paintbrushes. Right. Nope, wrong way. That way. Oh, too much on the camera. There we go. And then down that way a touch. There we go. That's sorted. How do I find the patience? Practice. I mean, according to this, I've been streaming now and painting for... how long? Just under 2 hours. That and deadlines, because I have to get it done by the weekend for the tournament. So it has to get done. And for some reason I only ever paint properly when I've got to a deadline that's like 40 hours away. Can have all the months in the world and not bother painting anything, and then when there's a tournament coming up that I've entered in 3 days time, then I'll paint the army. I can't be the only one that does that. Cool. How was my Halloween? I slept. I don't do anything for Halloween. May not work late anyway, so hopefully yours was alright though. Didn't have any trick-or-treaters either. Nobody came to the house. What am I making? I've got two things on the go. I've got a unit of Lich Guard that I've just finished airbrushing on, and they're drying before I do the final touches before basing them. And then currently in my hands now, I've got a Locust Destroyer, which I'm painting because I need all of these things for Saturday for a tournament. So here's the Locust. I've just finished dry brushing him. Now I am contrast painting him this teal colour to act as a base coat, metallic base coat, because I've just dry brushed him with 2 layers of silver. He will then get dry brushed again on top of that with 2 layers of one of Fenrisian Grey and then one of Blue Horror, because my colour scheme for my Necrons is a blue and orange style and brass. Like that. So he will, these shields are done in the same manner. So the shield is base coated in silver, then it's contrast Croxcore scales, then it's dry brush of Fenrisian Grey and Blue Horror to finish it off. I didn't really like the green version of Necrons because everyone does it, so I made up my own orange and yellow version and blue. Yeah, steady hands. Yeah, these aren't too bad to paint really, because the way the models are, they tend to lend quite easy to the paint flowing around them. Quite big panels and stuff like that. It gets a bit more fiddly with stuff like this. So here is a Rider of Rohan for Lord of the Rings Wargame, which I've got a tournament for next week, which I've got to make an entire army for, which partly is currently in this. Need to sort that out for next week. But that's next week's problem. Well, Sunday's probably, or tonight's if I start on it tonight. Stream okay? Yep, it's going okay on Twitch. It's going okay on YouTube. Cool. How long to finish One Piece? Depends. This unit of 10 has probably taken me. Necrons are quite quick, so the dry brushing makes it a lot easier. Probably takes me about 3 hours for 10 men, I guess, potentially. It's mainly, like I said, with these guys. So for those on Twitch, it's also here. Let's see it far better in that camera. But on these, it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of dry brush, an airbrush, and then maybe 3 colours with a paintbrush. It's not that much. On the other hand, something like this, which is a Leviathan Terminator for the Twitch camera. There we go. Took me longer because there's a lot more detail on these, and I had to do a bit of blending to bring them in. And I really want to try new techniques with them as well because it was a new box set. The Lord of the Rings stuff's more fiddly because it is smaller. If I take this rider, so it's horse and the man, are the same size as that Terminator alone. So the details on these are a lot harder to paint because they're a smaller scale. Is that dried already? It is pretty warm up here. Yep, that's dried. So, not that brush. This is actually awesome. Thank you. Where have I put the dry brush? Oh, there. It's in the dry rack. How many people go to your tournaments? Let's see. I took part in one last weekend, which was 14 players. The one this weekend coming up is 28 players. I've just bought a ticket for a Lord of the Rings event next year, and I believe that's 100 players, and that's in Cardiff, so there's gonna be 50 tables. of Lord of the Rings. It's like the biggest event in the country, I think. On average, most of my tournaments are either 10 to 30 players, but that Lord of the Rings one is massive. Yes, so I went to a double tournament in Gloucester that was in a community centre. Was it last month? Month before? And that had, well, it's double, so each team's 2. Must have been about 68 players, 70 players. It was really good. That was good fun. They're held in halls, they're held in local game shops as well. Some have been held in castles before. There was an event, I think it was up Scotland Way. They've held an event that was in a castle for Lord of the Rings. That was quite cool. Where else have I played tournaments? No, halls, shops, and I didn't go to the one in the castle, but that looked quite good fun. And then there's also Warhammer World, which is in Nottingham, and they hold their own tournaments twice a year, I think, for each system, because you've got Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, Lord of the Rings, then they've also got Warcry, Kill Team, Necromunda, I think they might do stuff for that. But they hold quite a few things as well. And there's leagues and stuff like that as well, so you can take part in leagues across the country and points and all that kind of stuff. Right, this guy's now dry. Starting with Fenrisian Grey. Oh, that's the pain. Fenrisian Grey. I video it on my spare time, so I kind of know what I'm going to do. Yeah. Those were to you and your craft. Have a good day and good luck with your summit. Thank you very much. Take care, mate. I want to watch Second Lord of the Rings, but I'm not sure the full title. The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Followed by The Return of the King. Funny enough, I started watching it again this afternoon. This evening, even. More paint required. So I'm just stippling this big panel and then dry brushing the edges on this one, but we're stippling the main bit in the middle and then dry brushing over the grades. Up there. How did I get into this? Let's see, I was probably 7 years old. Started off with Airfix. You know, when your family used to buy you an Airfix kit for your birthday and stuff like that, so like building planes and boats and stuff like that. But I used to get annoyed or upset, not so much upset, annoyed, because you'd build it, you'd spend ages building and painting it, and then that was it. You just either hung it from the ceiling on some string, stuck it in a glass cabinet, or gave it to someone. So I wanted to do something where I put my time and effort into making, painting and building something, and I had something to do with it afterwards, which is why I found Warhammer, because You make it, you build it, you paint it, and you play games with it afterwards, because they're basically board pieces. And yeah, I mean, I haven't done it all my life. I did it for a fair few years, and I stopped. And then about, well, just before lockdown, I think, I got back into it then, because there was nothing else to do. And then it kind of stuck. Oh, too much on there. It's fine, we'll work it in. Make it look like it was supposed to be there. I mean, it sounds like a fine science anyway. What do I do with these ones? So these are for a game called Warhammer 40,000 or Warhammer 40k. It's got its own rule set, and basically once you've built them, you organise with your friends to go and play games with them. So it involves dice and rulers and all that kind of stuff, tape measures, etc. And you set up a battlefield, and it's like playing some of the computer games but on tabletop. You move your models, you shoot with them, fight with them, all that kind of stuff, like you would playing a video game, but in person. So it's more social. Is it more social to be in person than it is to be online? Probably, but you're still talking to people online, so yeah, both have their place, I think. But yeah, every Tuesday I go down to a local gaming club, meet up with my mates, play a couple of games, have a catch up, have a chat, have a laugh, and then just collect more. Basically, it's a never-ending endeavor, because you're always collecting something else. There's about, I think there's 20 different armies in the game, so you'll collect one, then you'll start another one, then you'll start another one, then you'll start another one. It never ends. That's that layer done with him, so he now looks lighter. Where's the camera there? So we'll go lighter again, which is blue horror. There. Oh, I dropped it. Or better yet, don't play football, pick it up and run with it. Squash it a little bit so it looks like an egg. Then you've got a good football. I'm just trying to find a really light shade of blue, and currently I'm getting there now, but just a minute ago it wasn't going light enough for me. So I just changed the amount of paint on my brush to give it a bit more colour. And there we have him. He is baby bluish. So, my proudest work. It's not up here, I don't think. Got something called a towner, and it is probably about that big. I spent a lot of time painting it. Where is it? It's not in those boxes there. But basically it's a supersized version of this. So here's the small version. And it's basically that, but about that big. All airbrushed, all red, blues, oranges, all that kind of stuff. That's a relatively small version compared. And then I 3D printed. And the plane's really cool as well. I've got a plane that's probably like this big, but I 3D printed like gun effects for it and stuff like that. So on the table, it drew a lot of attention. Like this. So I 3D printed little blast effects to go inside the guns and stuff like that. For the camera on Twitch, these little gun effects I designed and printed, and they went on all the weapons, so they all had it all shooting out. There's a picture of it, I think, on my Instagram, but that's probably my favourite. Well, I've got a few dragons to paint coming up for Age of Sigmar, because I got some other stuff to do for that, so that looks quite good. Not the new dragons though, unfortunately, it's just the older stuff that I've still got in the box from last Christmas.
There's always been a Baggins living here under the hill. It's Baggins.
Ugh.
It always will be.
Right. So every Christmas Games Workshop release like special boxes. They've announced the ones coming out this year. I think it was last week they announced, and they look pretty good as well. But I've still got some of last year's Christmas boxes that I've just not done. So I need to get around to doing them. Your brother also bought you a horse one year. I'm assuming it's a kit or a full horse, because I mean either way it's still quite cool. Oh, I'm assuming it's a kit then, not a real horse, because you wouldn't throw a real horse out. A kit, yeah, that makes more sense. Could have bought you a pony. Would have been cheaper. Right, I'm going to end this there because I've done pretty much most of this stuff for now. So everyone on Twitch and YouTube, thank you for tuning in.